Sometimes the best part about a good video game is how much challenge that it provides. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 brutally hard levels in recent games. Starting off with number 10, it's Intercept the Red Guns from Armored Core 6. An extremely tough game at first, but at a certain point, you start to get complacent with it. You got a decent build that's been clearing out most of the missions no problem up till this point, and it seems like everything's going pretty smoothly into the end game. That's when you get to Intercept the Red Guns. This mission that comes in fairly late in the game. It's not really a boss fight per se, but it's not a full level either. It's basically a big arena where you get ganged up on by an entire squad of enemies, and it is utterly brutal. You're in a small space, densely packed with enemies, there's multiple reinforcements, and it's just an overall bad time. These guys can wear you down quick, they can make you easy pickings for when the actual boss shows up, so you're pretty much required to play pretty cautiously. In Armored Core, playing carefully means rocketing around the arena as fast as possible at all times, too. Your goal is basically to avoid dealing with multiple enemies at any one time and to avoid getting targeted by an endless barrage of missiles coming your way. There's not really anything to this one, it's just a brutal slugfest that ends up giving a lot of people trouble. Depending on who you ask, this random mission is tougher than any of the actual bosses in the game, which is saying something, because a lot of these bosses are not easy. And number 9, Brahma's Castle from Lords of the Fallen, the final location where the game throws out any pretense of playing nice. Up till this point, Lords of the Fallen has been one of the more forgiving Souls-likes out there, but once you cross this bridge into this lava-infested hellhole, all bets are off. Every dirty trick in a Souls-like is employed here. Damaging surfaces everywhere, confusing layout, narrow ledges, enemies waiting to ambush you around just about every door, and oh yeah, most of them take about 3 or 4 hits more than they usually do, making every battle a slog. The density of enemies is out of control too. Everywhere you turn, you're getting swarmed by the most annoying enemies in the game. The whole place is just a relentless assault on the player's patience, and checkpoints are few and far between too, so if you die, expect a long trek back to your corpse. The only reason this place isn't higher on the list is because it doesn't actually throw a lot of new stuff at you per se, and the actual boss fight isn't really that tough. It's one of those rare cases where the level itself is a lot tougher than the boss fight at the end. Brahma's Castle is designed to make you suffer so much the actual boss feels like a nice and easy victory lap, actually. And number 8 is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty's Somewhat Damaged. Depending on your choice at the end of Phantom Liberty, this game can take a sharp turn into survival horror. That alone is what makes this mission so much harder than everything else in the game. They take away your equipment and force you to play an entirely different genre for a while. Keeping spoilers to a minimum, this mission has you exploring an abandoned underground research base while you're being hunted by an unstoppable robot watchdog that can kill you instantly if it catches you. And this thing will catch you. It is in some brainless set piece section. It'll actually move through the area on its own and actively hunt you as you're exploring the place. One wrong move and you're dead, and even if you don't die a lot, the segment is still really tense. Nobody expected something like this to happen, leading some people to believe this mission might just be smoke and mirrors, but it isn't. This thing will kill you, and if it does, you gotta start the whole segment over again. It's not as brutal as something like Alien Isolation, but it's surprisingly close, and that's about the last thing I expected to see in this game. A game that's otherwise pretty easy. And number 7 is the cabin fight in the Resident Evil 4 remake. This was a fight that was fairly tough in the original, but they made it way harder in the remake. It's the part where Leon and Lewis meet up in the little two-story cabin that gets attacked by a horde of enemies. In general, enemies in the remake are more aggressive to make up for Leon's improved range of motion, but here you're trapped in a confined space with limited ammo and enemies coming from all sides. They even throw in a few curveballs for players who are used to the original game's fight. Now enemies crawl in from the chimney as well as from windows on the second floor, and to further complicate things, out of nowhere this game includes the boarding up windows mechanic from the Resident Evil 2 remake. There are some boards around here you can use to strengthen some windows, and if you don't immediately grab those and use them, you're pretty much guaranteed to get overwhelmed.
There you go. Pay attention! You know what to do!
I think I died here more times than anywhere else in the remake. It's pretty handily the hardest part of the game, especially in hardcore, where it's kind of just absurd. I hope you've been practicing your parrying, because otherwise you're pretty screwed. And number 6 is Baldur's Gate 3's House of Hope. There's multiple enemies and encounters in Act 3 in this game that would qualify for a list like this, but in my own personal experience, the House of Hope is the hardest section in the game. This demonic location is the home of Raphael, the demon who's been hounding over your character since Act 1. You finally get to turn the tables on him, but it's not going to be easy or anything. This place is mostly exploration-based until at the end, when you rescue Hope, who's both an actual character and the literal embodiment of Hope, and that's when it becomes a full-blown slugfest. Just getting to the exit is a test of endurance, with many difficult fights, but it concludes in what is probably the toughest fight in the game, against the demon Raphael himself. We've talked about this guy before on the channel, but the gist of it is that he's ridiculous. You start the battle in the middle of the arena, surrounded by enemies. This guy has an absurd amount of health and a convoluted gimmick that involves siphoning power from 4 pillars around the room. If you go into this fight unprepared, it's a kick in the teeth. There is no going back. You can't just leave the House of Hope. So if you run into trouble and you can't win, it's potentially multiple hours of lost progress. Everybody warns you that trying to go into this place is suicide, but in most games, just exaggeration. They mean it here, though. That, this is exactly correct. And number 5 is War from Pizza Tower. Depending on what you want to get out of Pizza Tower, the game's either fairly easy or extremely tough. If you're the type who has to get the best rank, then this game is absolutely merciless. But if you want to just breeze through the story without worrying about collectibles and scores, it's way easier. At least until you get to the final standard mission of the game, War. See, how Pizza Tower works is a lot like those classic Wario games. Your main guy, Peppino, can rarely actually die from anything. So for most of the game, there's really no threat of losing at all. That's not the case, though, with War. This mission gives you a shotgun power-up, which is, of course, absurd in a game like this. You'd feel overpowered if not for the extremely oppressive timer at the bottom of the screen that's constantly ticking down. It starts off with only 30 seconds on the clock and allows you to send the time by finding new TVs to smash, so you gotta move quick, and when I say quick, I don't mean a little quick, I mean really quick. It might seem like you're blazing through the level, but it's not fast enough. The only way to get through this level is to go full speedrunner mode, really just pedal to the metal crazy. While this is going on, the level is throwing nonstop chaos at you. It's really, really hard to keep up. And this level is long, too. It's not just a little extra. It's not over in a minute. It's the real deal. And number 4, The Lies of P's Archie Abbey. Another Souls-like where the final area is the toughest part of the game. That's actually pretty unusual. While Lies of P doesn't fill its final area with quite as much annoying lava as Lords of the Fallen, it does manage to make up for it with pure challenge. The place is long, it's got multiple bosses, all of which are the toughest and most annoying in the game, and it's guarded by multiple mini-boss enemies and snipers. This is another one of those areas that just throws everything at you with the toughest enemies, difficult to navigate layouts, long distances between checkpoints. On top of that, this place has its own gauntlet of boss encounters that are extremely hard. From Puppet Melania, from Elden Ring, on the bridge, the most annoying fight in the game, Simon Manus. He's not the hardest boss in the game. That honor goes to the actual final boss, but damn if this guy isn't a pain to fight. Summoning help isn't even going to balance things out. Your assist is almost always dead before the second form, which just loves to trigger this gigantic area of effect attacks that make it very difficult to even find an opening to do damage. Archie Abbey is massive, full of bosses, and easily the hardest part of the game. And number 3, the Siege from Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. The Pathfinder game's notorious for their out-of-nowhere difficulty spikes, and while Rogue Trader feels like a smoother experience overall, there are still some classic Owlcat FUs in here to suffer through. The end of Act 1 is one of them, and the end of Act 3 is pretty insane, but in both cases, it's just the boss that's tough, but with the Siege, the entire area is pure suffering. The final dungeon of Act 4 is this factory that's been taken over by the forces of chaos. In terms of density of fights, this place has every other part of the Rogue Trader beat. Literally every turn of this hellish factory has some new pain-in-the-ass thing, a fight or something you got to deal with. It's not just that there's a lot of enemies, there's multiple encounters with totally unique boss-like forces that have their own gimmicks. There's traps everywhere too, and unless you got someone who's practically maxed out on warp knowledge, good luck disarming any of them. Oh yeah, and no going back to the ship or resting while you're here. I hope you have enough trauma kits in order to heal traumas, because your party's going to be hopelessly underpowered for the final encounter if you don't. The final battle also just the worst. You start off completely surrounded by Chaos Space Marines who can easily kill multiple party members in a single turn if they feel like it, and that's only phase 1. Somehow, if you luck out and survive all that BS, you're going to fight an even greater demon who's got their own brain of completely unfair nonsense. It's not even the end of the game. There's an Act 5, but the rest of the game's actually pretty easy in comparison to this. And number 2 is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, The Impossible Climb. This Metroidvania continuation of the Prince of Persia franchise is, for the most part, a fun experience, but some of the optional content hidden around the corners of the map has got no mercy. Before getting to the meat of this one, I want to give a special shout out to this absolutely ridiculous trap above the secret room off the main elevator. This thing just keeps going and going. I could have been stuck on it for hours if I didn't luck out a few times near that. In any other game, that part would be the clear frontrunner for the most difficult section, but come on! There's a part just literally called The Impossible Climb, and it takes the top spot. It isn't exactly impossible, but it's crazy difficult. The gimmick here, you gotta climb this spike-covered contraption and collect 3 glowing objects, then return them to the guy at the bottom. Do I even need to say that this is easier said than done? Yes, it's easier said than done. There's no safe platforms here, just a bunch of moving walls to jump off of and spikes. There's a lot of spikes. It's basically this game's version of the Path of Pain from Hollow Knight, and while I don't think it's quite as hard as that, it's still a solid challenge and one of the toughest sections in a surprisingly tough game. And finally, at number 1 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the final test badge marathon. Most recent Mario games have some kind of final marathon level that unlocks after completing everything, and Wonder's got that. The final test Wonder Gauntlet. It's hard, but this level is the final test. It's an even harder version of the original level, and you better believe it is ruthless. The basic idea here is you complete a set of challenges that require use of a specific badge to complete. Each section of the level is dedicated to one power-up, and unless you play nearly perfectly, you're gonna die. It's all difficult, but special mention has to go to the section that makes Mario invisible. The rest of the level's hard, but this is practically Kaizo level trolling on Nintendo's part. You can't see what you're doing. It's nearly impossible to keep track of your character and keep track of everything going on in the level, so the only real way to finish it without having a sixth sense is to cheat. Play through this mission two-player, you get a little symbol over your head that makes it a lot easier to keep track of where you are. Without that little trick, this mission would have legit been nearly impossible. The whole mission is rough, and oh yeah, unlike every other badge challenge type mission, if you die in this one, you still lose lives, and getting a game over is a real possibility. These final bonus levels in the Mario games are always tough, but the gimmicks in this one make it especially brutal. I got a bonus for you too with Laika Aged Through Blood, the Floating City. It's a highly rated but underplayed indie gem. It can only be described as a Motorvania. You move through the open levels on a motorcycle. It kind of plays like a cross between Metroid Trials and Hotline Miami. Just one hit is instant death, and even though you go through the game and unlock new weapons and abilities, your one-hit kill status, it never changes. That alone makes the final area of Laika really difficult. This is where the game throws everything it's got at you, and like there's so many deaths. There's so many segments I just died over and over again, but damn, if it didn't feel good to finally break through and manage to survive the almost puzzle-like layouts of the enemies. There are some gimmicks here that make it even trickier, like air vents that throw you around and heating zones that kill you instantly if you try to fire a gun at them. It's just an all-around difficult segment of an already extremely challenging game. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.